What's good, my people? Godfrey here again at Boxing Redeemed. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. We're back again. Tonight is fight night, people. Joshua Buatsi versus Craig Richards. Domestic clash. UK fans buzzing. I'm buzzing. I think that's a big fight. Big fight tonight. And I was actually expecting to do this video a lot earlier. It's actually gone past 8:30, so you know I'm literally I'm buzzing. I think it's a huge fight for both fighters. Joshua Buatsi's had a fantastic amateur, I wouldn't say necessarily fantastic, he's had a good amateur pedigree. He's had, I believe, 39 wins and 11 losses in the amateurs. So that's decent. I think that's a very decent amateur pedigree. In regards to Craig Richards, as we know, some UK fans may know, he hasn't had that much of an amateur experience as much as Joshua Buatsi. I believe Buatsi's an Olympian as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe he's also an Olympian. But you know, let's just put it. Let's just say it. You know, two fighters. UK fighters, domestic. You know, as UK fans, we just got to appreciate this fight tonight. I think it's going to be a good and a genuine 50-50 fight. I see both fighters having success in the fight. I really do. I think the styles, the clash of styles is going to be, you know, I'm very curious actually how both fighters are going to approach the fight, especially in the early rounds. They both have their advantages, they both have their weaknesses, so I'm actually curious how both fighters are going to really, you know, approach the first couple of rounds. But yeah, I do see, you know, Buatsi probably coming in possibly a bit faster than usual. I think both fighters do actually start quite slow at times, especially Spider, especially the man himself, Craig Richards. I think he starts a lot slower compared to Buatsi. But I think what separates the two is going to be the jab. I think who establishes the jab early. Buatsi has a very good stiff jab, very good jab, and so does Craig Richards. So I'm leaning towards Buatsi, but you know, it's a difficult fight to really separate the two. But yeah, I see Buatsi, you know, starting well, and I think Craig Richards may capitalize on certain things as well. So you know, the good things that I believe, you know, Buatsi himself, you know, we all know he's got power. He can throw with both hands. He has a good left hook. He throws to the body and is very, very aggressive as well on the inside. He can, you know, he can counter and make it a rough fight. So I do see Buatsi possibly, you know, having good success in the inside. So I think if Buatsi gonna get a lot of success in this fight, he does have to get close. Because personally for me, Craig Richards does make things very awkward at times. If you look at his bouts, even against Bivol, he fights very well at range. He's got a good boxing IQ, Craig Richards, so he uses his range very, very well, and he's quite awkward. He's very awkward because he almost leans back, and he's actually very good on the back foot as well. So I wonder how Buatsi's going to approach the fight, because if you look at Craig Richards, you know, some of his counters, he loves the lean. You know, he almost leans back and then throws a right. He counters the left jab, so he will lean back and throw the right. It's almost, you know, quite, you could say the Floyd Mayweather type of punch. You know, you almost lean back and you throw the right hand. So yeah, I'm curious how it's all going to play out, really. I wonder whether Craig Richards is going to push him on the back foot, because you don't see Buatsi on the back foot. So I wonder, you know, how well is Buatsi going to fight on the back foot, if he is going to be put on the back foot by Craig Richards. And I think if Craig Richards is going to have success in this fight, he has to put Buatsi on his back foot. He can't allow Buatsi to come on the front foot and throw the left hooks to the body left hooks to the head. He has to really use his range well and just, I would say mix it up, on the back foot at times, but I think he has to predominantly be on the front foot in order to have any success against Joshua Buatsi. But personally for me, the problem I think Joshua Buatsi has is, we saw that against Marco Kalic, he's prone to the right hand. And Richards throws a lot of right hands. He's not scared to throw that right hand. Saying that, Craig Richards at times can become quite passive in his fights, quite negative, or you could say, I wouldn't say negative, I would say at times defensive. So I wonder if he's going to become quite defensive in this fight in order to go all 12 rounds. So I do think, hopefully, Richards takes a lot more risks in this fight. But I just wonder whether if Buatsi and his team has worked on, defending the right hand, because he is very prone to it. He almost keeps his head in the centre line, especially when he comes forward. So I'm not saying he necessarily walks in a straight line. I'm just saying at times, he keeps his head in the same place when he's throwing, and he gets caught with the right hand. So I just wonder. I wonder whether if they've worked on it. So let's see. Let's see how that goes. But with Craig Richards, I think what I like about him, he has a good variation of his rhythm. He has almost like a different gear to him, and not necessarily, up in the gear as the rounds go by. I'm saying in the rounds, like he changes his rhythm throughout the round. So at times I think that's the awkwardness that Buatsi's going to face, and I just wonder how, he's going to tackle that. How, when almost you could see, Richards jumping in, throwing, a couple of quick punches and then coming back out and then going back in and then throws a jab. So I just wonder how Buatsi's going to tackle those elements of Craig Richards. So I think it's a tough fight for both of them. I can see this fight going to the distance. I wouldn't be surprised if one of the fighters get knocked down. I don't think this fight is going to be a KO type of fight. I do think it's going to go 12 rounds. It's one of those fights where I think both fighters are very disciplined. I don't see them taking too much risk early. I think they're going to almost up the gear as the fight goes on. So I do see it I do see it being close, especially early. I think they're just going to try and feel each other out and see what happens. But personally, as I mentioned beforehand, I think it's about the jab. Who's going to establish the jab early? And whoever establishes the jab early will have the success in the fight and win the fight. So let's see. I think they both have very good jabs. I just wonder, who's going to end up throwing those jabs and constantly throwing those jabs. And I think if Richards uses that as a game plan against Joshua Buatsi, I think it's going to be a long night for Buatsi. So, what's my prediction? It's a tough one. I like both fighters. So as I mentioned beforehand, I'm not really going to predict this one. I'm going to basically say, let's see how both fighters approach it. I'm just going to enjoy this one, enjoy the night. And for me, my prediction is whoever establishes the jab is going to win the fight. If Craig Richards establishes the jab early, as I mentioned, it's going to be a long night for Buatsi. You know what? Let me not become too passive and too neutral. You know what? I'm gonna go for a prediction. 12 rounds. I see this fight going 12 rounds. One of them may get knocked down, but I don't see it being a TKO or a KO. I think it's going 12 rounds, and I was leaning towards Buatsi, and then I changed my mind and I was like, I think Richards. It's a tough one. It's a tough fight. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Um, I want to say Richards because I like Richards as well, and I would love for him to do it. But then I love Buatsi too. So if I'm leaning towards a fighter, I would say Buatsi. Just because he has the variation of punches. I've seen him go deep waters against Marco Kalik. So yeah, I'm leaning towards Buatsi, but then again, I wouldn't be surprised if Craig Richards pulled it off. So yeah, let's go. Boxing redeemed. Let's go. Boom.